Bonjour and welcome, viewers and students, to Let's Speak French, Parlons Français. These lessons on basic French are short and easy, and if you follow the program regularly, I can assure you that very soon you will be able to understand French quite easily. The previous session focused on the present tense of reflexive verbs. In today's class, we will examine two things. The first one is the present continuous and the second is the gerund. This lesson has been divided into three sections. In the first section, I will read out a short French text and explain what the present continuous is. Then in the next section, I will explain the gerund. And finally, in the third section, we will do an exercise to revise what we learned in today's session. We'll begin the lesson with a short French text. This text talks about Adrienne, who is caught in traffic on her way back from work. Affamée, déprimée, coincée dans un embouteillage, Adrienne passe son temps en grignotant un croissant au beurre qu'elle achète pour la route. Elle sait qu'elle prendra du temps à rentrer parce que c'est l'heure de pointe. La circulation est toujours ralentie par les gens revenant du bureau. Lorsque la rue se dégage enfin, Adrienne est de nouveau en bonne humeur. Elle appuie sur l'accélérateur et conduit à toute vitesse en fredonnant un air. Lorsqu'elle rentre chez elle, Adrienne trouve que Pierre est en train de préparer le dîner. Adrienne est heureuse que son mari s'occupe des tâches ménagères. Elle monte dans la chambre des enfants et trouve que les garçons sont en train d'étudier diligemment. Elle les embrasse et ils descendent ensemble pour manger. In this short text, 4 groups of words have been highlighted. 2 of them are examples of present continuous, while the other 2 are examples of gerund. In this first section, we will learn about the present continuous. In the next section, we'll examine the gerund. The present continuous, also known as the present progressive, is a tense that indicates an ongoing action. This tense is very similar to the present tense, but the latter, that is the present tense, does not explicitly express an ongoing action. Let me illustrate this with an example. Peter is preparing dinner. Peter prepares dinner. The first sentence is an example of the present continuous. In this sentence, Peter is in the act of preparing dinner while we speak about him. But in the second sentence, which is an example of the present tense, Peter is not necessarily preparing dinner while we speak about him. In English, one mostly uses the present continuous, and the present tense is commonly used while talking about routine actions. In the French language, the present continuous exists as well. In French, the term used for this tense is présent continu or présent progressif. Let me now show you how the present continuous is used in French. To do so, let us consider the French translation of the previous example. This French equivalent is taken from the French text. Pierre est en train de préparer le dîner. In English, it is easy to convert the verb from the present tense to the present continuous. One simply adds the suffix ing to the infinitive form of the verb. But in French, one needs to insert the phrase être en train de before the infinitive form of the verb. One must remember that in the present continuous, it isn't the main verb that is conjugated, but the verb être. Here are a few sentences that illustrate how the present continuous is used with different subject pronouns. Je suis en train de manger. Tu es en train de courir. Nous sommes en train de voyager. Les garçons sont en train d'étudier. As you can see, it's the verb être which is conjugated each time. The main verb retains its infinitive form. Before we end this section, let me point out two important things regarding the present continuous. In French, the present tense can also indicate an ongoing action. And since the present tense is shorter and simpler than the present continuous, one generally uses the present tense to express an ongoing action. The second point that needs to be kept in mind is when translating the present continuous from English to French. Many French students make the mistake of doing a word-to-word translation from English to French. Instead of using the present tense or the present continuous in French, they often end up with a structure that is grammatically incorrect. To understand it, let's see how the question "Que fais-tu?" What are you doing? Is answered. What are you doing? I am working. Que fais-tu? Je suis travaillant. The right answer would be Je travaille, which is the present tense, or Je suis en train de travailler, present continuous. But many students try to follow the English structure and translate each word literally. I am is translated as je suis and working is translated by travaillant. ing ending verbs in English are equivalent to French present participle, that is, verbs ending with ant. I will explain the present participle in the next section when we learn about the gerund. But for the moment, all you need to understand is that just because the present participle is used in English does not mean you need to use the present participle in French as well. Each language has its own structure, and the right structure to indicate an ongoing action in French is either through the present tense, je travaille, or through the phrase être en train de, je suis en train de travailler. Moods and tenses are grammatical terms, while tenses, which translates as temps in French, indicates the time when the action of the verb occurs, past, present or future. Moods, called mode in French, express the attitude of the speaker. There are 6 moods in the French language. Each mood has a particular number of tenses. I won't be explaining each mood and tense individually. We will examine them as we progress with the French lessons. The indicative mood, which indicates a fact or something that is happening, has happened, or will happen, is the most frequently used mood. We have already learned the present tense of this mood. In today's class, we will learn the 6th mood, which is the gerund. The gerund is an impersonal mood, which means it does not distinguish between grammatical persons. It is not conjugated but has a single form for all the persons. The gerund is always composed of 2 elements. The first one is the preposition en. The second is the verb. The verb in the gerund mood is always characterized by its ant ending. To create the gerund of any verb, one has to first consider the conjugated form of the verb in the first person plural of the present tense. Then one has to remove the ons ending and replace it with the suffix ant. Let me illustrate this with verbs from different groups. Garder, nous gardons, en gardant. Finir, nous finissons, en finissant. Voir, nous voyons, en voyant. There are 3 exceptions and they are avoir, nous avons en ayant. Être, nous sommes, en étant. Savoir, nous savons, en sachant. Now that we know how to form the gerund of a verb, let me explain to you the function of this mood. The gerund is always linked to the main verb and has two usages. A. The gerund expresses something that occurs simultaneously or immediately before the main verb's action. In the text, we have one such example. Adrien conduit à toute vitesse en fredonnant un air. In this sentence, conduit is the main verb. En fredonnant is the gerund form of the verb fredonner, which means to hum. In this sentence, it is clear that Adrien is humming a tune while driving. But sometimes the gerund can have two meanings in French. Let's consider the following sentence. It can be translated in two different ways. Olga aperçoit le désordre en entrant chez elle. Olga notices the mess upon entering her home. Olga notices the mess while entering her home. In the English sentences, the preposition upon and the conjunction while clearly indicate whether the verb in the gerund occurs at the same time or after the main verb. This precision is sometimes missing in the French sentence. B. The gerund can also express how or why the action of the main verb happens. Adrienne passe son temps en grignotant un croissant. Adrienne spends her time nibbling on a croissant. In this sentence, passer is the main verb. En grignotant is the gerund form of the verb grignoter. En grignotant explains how Adrienne spends the time while stuck in traffic. Next, let me show you a common mistake that many French students make with the gerund. The preposition en that is characteristic of this mood is very important. It is this preposition that distinguishes the gerund from the present participle. Let us have a look at this table again. As you can see, the participle is a mood and it has two tenses, the present participle and the past participle. The present participle looks identical to the gerund. What is different is the absence of the preposition en. Here's a table that shows the gerund and the present participle of three verbs. En gardant, gardant. En finissant, finissant. En voyant, voyant. So as you can see, apart from the omission of en, the present participle is absolutely the same as the gerund. It is this similarity that confuses French students, and one often finds that these two forms are interchangeably used. In order to avoid this pitfall, one must understand the function of the present participle. The present participle is always used as an adjective which modifies the noun that precedes it. The gerund, on the other hand, is connected to the main verb. Here's an example of these two forms. The verb is the same in both sentences. En arrivant à l'aéroport, les touristes se dirigent vers le bureau d'accueil. Upon arriving at the airport, the tourists proceed towards the reception desk. Les touristes arrivant à l'aéroport se dirigent vers le bureau d'accueil. The tourists arriving at the airport proceed towards the reception desk. In the first sentence, the verb arriver is in the gerund form. Arriver is therefore linked to the main verb, which is se diriger. In this sentence, the verb arriver indicates when the tourists proceed towards the reception desk. In the second sentence, the verb arriver is conjugated in the present participle. Arriver is therefore linked to the noun that precedes it, which is touriste. By modifying the noun touriste, the verb arriver functions as an adjective which describes what kind of tourists proceed towards the reception desk. Before we move on and revise what we learned today, let me summarize the second section. We learned that the gerund is an impersonal mood that has a single invariable form. This form is composed of two elements, the preposition en followed by the verb. We also learned that the gerund is often confused with the present participle. While the present participle functions as an adjective, the gerund indicates how or when the action of its verb occurs with regard to the action of the main verb. In this third section, we will revise what we learned in today's session on the present continuous and the gerund. A short exercise has been provided below. We need to choose the right option to complete the following sentences. For the present continuous, two right answers are available. The mood or the tense that needs to be used has been indicated at the end of each sentence. Le bébé dormir, present continuous. Le bébé est dormant, le bébé dort, le bébé est en train de dormir. This sentence translates as the baby is sleeping. There are two right answers. Both B and C are correct. Le bébé dort and le bébé est en train de dormir. Nous finir nos devoirs. Present continuous. Nous finissons nos devoirs. Nous sommes finissons nos devoirs. Nous sommes en train de finir nos devoirs. This sentence translates as we are finishing our homework. There are two right answers. Both A and C are correct. Nous finissons nos devoirs and nous sommes en train de finir nos devoirs. Tu conduire la voiture. Present continuous. Tu es en train de conduire la voiture. Tu conduis la voiture. Tu es conduisant la voiture. This sentence translates as you are driving the car. There are again two right answers. Both A and B are correct. Tu es en train de conduire la voiture and tu conduis la voiture. Elle gagne de l'argent de poche travaillé à temps partiel à Carrefour. Gerund. Elle gagne de l'argent de poche en travaillant à temps partiel à Carrefour. Elle gagne de l'argent de poche travaillant à temps partiel à Carrefour. This sentence translates as she earns some pocket money by working part-time in Carrefour. The right answer is A. Elle gagne de l'argent de poche en travaillant à temps partiel à Carrefour. Est-ce que vous écoutez la musique faire du jogging? Est-ce que vous écoutez la musique en faisant du jogging? Est-ce que vous écoutez la musique faisant du jogging? This sentence translates as do you listen to music while jogging? The right answer is A. Est-ce que vous écoutez la musique en faisant du jogging? Je prends le petit déjeuner, regardez la télé. Gerund. Je prends le petit déjeuner en regardant la télé. Je prends le petit déjeuner regardant la télé. This sentence translates as I have breakfast while watching TV. The right answer is A. Je prends le petit déjeuner en regardant la télé. With this, we come to the end of our fifth lesson. This lesson was divided into three sections. In the first section, I read out a short French text. Then I explained the present continuous. In the second section, I explained the gerund. We also briefly touched on the present participle. And finally, in the third section, we revised today's lesson by doing an exercise on the present continuous and the gerund. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In the next class, we'll begin chapter 6. The first lesson will be on compound past. I hope to see you in the next class. Thank you and à bientôt. See you soon.